Good morning, Kitchen Witches. Today is July 2nd, and this is your tarot and menu inspiration for the day. I'm Chef Lisa, editor-in-chief of A Chef's Grimoire magazine, and we're going to pull one card, and this is going to be what we need to know for the day. Let's see what that is. What is the card for the 2nd of July, 2026? Okay, ready? Oh, the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords. So this is a bit of a challenging card. When it comes up in a spread, it has undertones of deceit. If you see the depiction of the card, how Pamela Coleman Smith drew it, it's an individual that's gathering swords and kind of tiptoeing forward while looking behind them. It's kind of a menacing, like you can tell this individual is being sneaky about what they're doing. 7, and we know that all minor arcanas are ruled by a major. So the 7th major arcana is the Chariot. And the Chariot is about pushing forward, right? But as depicted, it's a stone chariot. Sometimes the wheels are even turned, so they're obviously, they're turned so they can't roll. And the sphinxes, or what is quote unquote pulling the chariot, don't even have reins attached to them. They're sitting down. So even though it's a card that's all about motion, not emotion, motion, it's stagnant in motion, okay? Why? Because it's internal motivation. It's internal movement, right? It's acting on thoughts. So when we get to this card, and knowing that the Chariot is the underlining essence of this card, there's motivation here, but is it for the good of all? Right? So sometimes this could be, and again, if you're putting it in a spread, it could be there's deceit that's happening around you. The best scenario I can think of is if somebody is trying to undermine you in the workplace. Or are you the person that's trying to cut corners or get a leg up, or climb to the top of the ladder in not the best way? So it's something to think about, right? Now, 7s in numerology are kind of a resting period, right? There's the 1, 2, 3, which is propelling us forward. The 4 is giving us structure. The 5 is where we get conflict and hurdles, right? We overcome hurdles. And the 6s, we nourish ourselves, but then before we jump back into action, we have our 7s, which are plateaus and or a rest period. So that also comes into play with this card because it is numbered 7, yes? So it's a time to step back and think about what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve. Is it good for everyone involved, not just for you, right? And if you're on the receiving end of any of this deception, is it worth fighting for? Right? You got to think about that. So we are in the middle of the work week, right? We're in a Thursday. So Yeah, think about that, right? I mean, is this something I really want to use all of my energy on? Or is it something that I can just let go? But yes, so this card, it can be a little bit of a challenging card. But on the upside to this card, you could think of it as where can you cut corners in that you know won't hurt or deceive anyone, but where can you cut corners to make things a little lighter and easier for yourself? That's a positive way to look at this card. So when we bring this card into the kitchen, we are thinking about meals that kind of like, what can we get away with in the kitchen? That again is going to nourish everybody the way you want to nourish everybody. Bring all of your beautiful kitchen magic into everything that you put out on a plate to give to someone else and yourself. But how can you kind of zhuzh it so that you can get away with something a little different? Let's look at that. So I'm thinking for breakfast, how about an Italian egg sushi with pesto rice? So if you've made sushi before, it's super easy. You just need your rice, you need your nori, which is the seaweed sheet, right? Make sure it's a toasted nori, makes all the difference. Or if you know how to toast it yourself, go ahead and do that. But you need it toasted because that's the crunch and that's what keeps it from getting soggy, right? If it's toasted. So the rice, instead of just making a sushi rice, you're going to make a pesto rice. So if basil is growing on your windowsill or on your deck or in your garden, harvest it, make yourself some beautiful pesto, super easy. All you need is a food processor, you need lemon juice, you need olive oil, you need sea salt, and yeah, blend all of that together until it looks like pesto, tastes like pesto, you're good. You could also buy it in a little jar, right? It's not that expensive, believe it or not, and sometimes it's really good. Oh, and you can throw a handful of nuts into your pesto too, if you wish. Parmesan cheese, really make it gorgeous. And if you need a recipe for it, find one online. You'll find one, just put in pesto. You'll get a billion responses. So when you made your rice, and you do want it to be a starchy rice, right? Because you want it to stick together. So an arborio rice, you can make that, right? And then once that's cooked, add your pesto. So now it's green. And you're gonna lay that on your piece of nori, right? If you're doing a regular roll where the nori is on the outside, then you wanna make sure that if this is your nori sheet, you're going to fill all three sides, but the top portion of where you're going to roll it to has a little gap where there's no rice, because that's how you're going to seal your sushi roll. And then you're going to put in your eggs, which you can add bell pepper to. You can make it like, Italian. If you want to add a little tomato sauce to your eggs before you cook them, that's nice. Turn them a little red. Add the bell pepper. What else would go in there? Whatever you want, right? Onions, garlic, yeah, So then you lay that on top of the rice that you've just patted down onto your nori, and you roll. And then you seal it, and you have an Italian sushi roll. It's delicious. And you can get away with it because people are going to enjoy it. Cut it really beautifully, put it on a plate. I mean, sushi is art. It's an art form, and to present it, it looks like an artist's work. So when you cut your sushi your sushi roll, cut at an angle first, then cut straight on, and you have two angular bits that you can stand up on the plate, And then the rest of them are rounds that you can display around those triangular bits sticking up. It's a beautiful plate, makes you happy. And you can get away with it. So that's for breakfast. Moving on to lunch. You know, our friends in Canada, I love them. And they created an amazing dish called poutine. What it is French fries with cheese and gravy. Now, I am originally from New Jersey. When we used to go to the diner, that's what we would order. Fries with cheese and gravy. And all it was a rendition of a poutine. But poutine, instead of just Velveeta cheese over the fries, it's cheese curds. So it's real cheese curds that melt and are ooey gooey. And the gravy is usually like this brown gravy that's delicious. And then sometimes they put a sunny side egg on top of it. Yeah. So for lunch, we're gonna do poutine, but we're gonna do something that's a little, right? What can we get away with? We're gonna do a butter chicken poutine. So butter chicken is Indian. It's an Indian cuisine. So you're gonna make the butter chicken sauce, not put the chicken in there. You can if you want to, right? Protein. But you're gonna make the sauce. And while your French fries are either in the oven, in the deep fryer, or in the air fryer, you're making up your butter chicken sauce, which you can look up a recipe online for. It's super easy. And then you're gonna pour that over the cooked French fries. And if you wish, you can add cheese, right? And melt that on top. Or, like I was talking about, that soft sunny side up egg. Yum. And you could get away with that too. People will love it. For dinner, I'm thinking kimchi risotto. So we used a little bit of arborio rice in our sushi this morning when we did our Italian sushi roll. Make extra or have it off to the side because you're going to turn it into risotto for the evening meal. And risotto couldn't be more easy, right? You're going to get your aromatics going in a pot. So that's onions, garlic. If you want to, you can add, you can add, start with that, right? Onions and garlic. Then you're going to add some kimchi. And that's cabbage usually, or it could be any kimchi that you have going on in your fridge, right? They can make it out of any vegetable. But the idea here is that it's kimchi going into the risotto. And then you're going to start to add the ladles of broth. So the broth, instead of just chicken broth or, chicken broth is typical, bring in like an Asian inspired broth. So maybe add some soy sauce to your chicken broth from a box or homemade, which is even better. And that way you're going to have it taste a little bit more traditional to where we're going with this dish, right? Bring in Asian flavors. You can even make a pho broth, right? Something you would use to make a bowl of pho with, P-H-O. But that's going to hydrate the risotto and make it into the glorious, almost like pudding-esque ladleful on your dish. A risotto made with kimchi. Again, guys, you can get away with it. So, those are the meals. That is our card for the day, the Seven of Swords. And did I mention, swords are thoughts, right? So that's why this card, deceptive, it's all from what we're thinking, how we're thinking. So if your thoughts don't include yourself, of course, number one, but also all those around you to have, to be nothing but positive, then you really need to look at what you're doing. You need to really revisit and turn it around in some way, right? There you go. So, as always, nourish yourself. Nourish all those around you with your kitchen magic. I'll see you tomorrow.